Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. The Walrus and the Comic.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're live for the inaugural episode of The Walrus and the Comic. I'm your host, Ron Terry. You can call me The Walrus. Join alongside my commentator, my best friend, my whatever you want to call him, Brett Howard, otherwise known as The Comic. Brett, how excited are you to start your very first podcast?
I can't hardly stand it. I have been ready. We've been talking about this now for a couple of years, ever since, me and you started, about 3 years, me and you started doing radio, high school football for the Walk-em-All Warriors in Pawleys Island. And, ever since we started, we've been like, man, we both have this passion for sports. We both, I do the stand-up comedy thing. I'm doing open mics, and this felt like a good way for both of us to talk about sports and to to get the comedy out there, and now here we are recording it, doing it.
Yeah, I think that's really exciting, and I honestly think radio has done a really good job preparing us both for something like this. And your stand-up comedy career is really just getting started. You're going, show to show, kind of paying your dues on the road around the Myrtle Beach area. And hopefully that's going to take off, and maybe this can be another way to kind of help propel your career forward, Brett. But when we're talking about doing a sports podcast, what type of qualifications do you actually have?
I have absolutely no sports experience. I have one trophy, probably in my whole house, and it's for t-ball when I was 6. But boy, I could lay it down at t-ball. But, after that, had health issues that, we'll get into as this podcast goes along. But I never was into sports. I was always passionate about them. I loved them, and I've always been close to them. But never really, never played them. So I don't have any experience at all.
Walking by your parents' room, I saw this award hanging up on their wall, and it was one that said "World's Greatest T-Ball Player." Is that actually your award?
And don't you forget it.
That's right. Your parents must be so proud of you. You're what, 24, 25, and
that's right.
All you've ever done is do T-ball.
That's right.
Interesting.
Up until last year, I was good.
Up until last year, and so did you kind of try to make the jump to slow pitch T-ball or softball?
I tried, and they told me I was too old for it all.
Too old for it all? Man. Well, let's talk about another disadvantage you deal with on a day-to-day life and how that's really hindered you in the sports world. You only have 9 fingers.
That's right. That has hindered me. You want to see something hilarious, try to throw a baseball without an index finger. You can't do it. You don't realize how much that finger helps. That actually pushes the ball forward. Even in a football, everything you throw, that ball is propelled forward. So missing that finger, the ball just kind of flies out of your hand like just a dead bird out of the sky.
Now, did that occur? Did you lose your finger in a T-ball accident?
Yeah. I was sliding into home trying to get the winning run, and the coach stepped on my thumb.
Man, that's terrible. So, that's a little bit about you, and we're going to explore more about you throughout the course of the show because, quite frankly, you're a ticking time bomb. You could go at any time during this podcast episode or tomorrow or the next day. In fact, your doctors say you're a walking miracle. And here you are, just sitting down in a chair, pissing away your life.
They say, stop coming here. Why aren't you dead yet? Stop coming here.
Well, you're going to keep coming.
Every 6 months, they're going to have to see me, and they'll hate it.
That's right. You don't want to let your old mom be sad. All right, so a little bit about me. I am a high school track and field coach. I coach cross country. I played 4 years varsity football. I played golf. Needless to say, sports has been a very important part of my life as long as I can remember. I love football. Absolutely love it. I'll actually really love what I coach. I deal with high school students every day, boys, girls, athletes who are trying to make it to the next level. Some are just trying to kill time while they're at school. And I think that's going to be a little valuable piece that we can kind of bring to this podcast experience. But Brett, I'm excited to actually get started talking about some actual things that matter in the sports world. How do you feel about NFL free agency?
I think it's one of the biggest ones we've ever had. Yeah, I mean, maybe in my life, maybe since I've been watching NFL. I mean, you got Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees. I mean, that's three titans of the NFL. I mean, it's three huge quarterbacks all being free agents, and we get to sit back and see where they go, and that's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Of those three that you mentioned, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, which one's the most exciting to you? What's the best name?
Tom Brady, obviously. It's got to be Tom Brady. Tom Brady is, some people say, the greatest of all time.
What do you say, Brett Howard? Is he the greatest of all time?
He's in the top five. I think Bill Belichick polishes him up a little bit. I think maybe he wouldn't be where he is without his coach.
Yeah. I think this is an exciting time for the NFL because for the first time in our lives, we could see Tom Brady play for a different team.
I think we will.
And I think that's exciting. I think for Patriot fans, probably the worst thing you could ever imagine. Imagine the New England Patriots without Tom Brady. Especially after trading away some quarterback pieces over the past 10 years that people deem to be the best to come ever. This is a time where for the Patriots organization, it is uncharted territory in our lifetime. And where do you think it's going to land?
Man, I like Las Vegas a lot. I'm really looking Las Vegas. I think I saw a report today that they were looking at giving him 2 years, $60 million. And I knew, at last, I think it was the last UFC pay-per-view, he was seen talking with the owner of the Raiders, and speculation started then, and then the report today with the new contract, the contract that they want to give him. I think that's a good spot for him, and I think that's number one on my list.
Obviously, there's some cap ramifications for that. The Las Vegas Raiders would have to move possibly a ton of assets, possibly go over the luxury tax. But is Tom Brady worth it?
100%. He's still worth it. 100%. He's not as worth it as he was. 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, he was worth it because he didn't need as many pieces around him as the next guy. Now, being 45 years old, whatever he is, he needs pieces. He needs people around him. He can't do it all himself. So he's not as valuable as he was a few years ago, but I think he's still the number two, maybe even still number one choice if you can get your hands on him.
Now, you just made the point where you said that he needs pieces around him. I'm going to read off a little bit of the Raiders' depth chart here for you. Wide receivers, Tyrell Williams, Hunter Renfrow, Keelan Doss, Marcel Aitman. Does those sound like weapons that Tom Brady has to have? Or can he do better? Because I believe if we pull up the San Diego Chargers roster, who, hey, they're losing Phillip Rivers. There's an opportunity there for him. I believe that the roster there is better.
I think the roster you just read off to me, now thinking about it, is an 8-8 season in Las Vegas for Tom Brady at this point. I think going to the Chargers, they are way more stacked. They have people already in place, people already there, people that have been doing it. I think, Las Vegas, if he goes there, they're going to have to bring pieces to him. They're going to have to go out. They still have more work to do. I think if he goes to the Chargers, the work's already done.
Yeah, here you go. Wide receiver Mike Williams, Andre Patton, Jalen Guyton, Travis Benjamin, Dylan Cantrell, Tyron Johnson. Those really aren't names that are crazy to have, but you do have free agent Melvin Gordon, who I imagine he's not going to be with the Chargers for much longer. Austin Eckler, that's a guy, stud. Helped actually anchor my fantasy football team to a second place finish this year, even with Melvin Gordon coming back. But they seem to be pretty excited about Tyrod Taylor, who's their actual who was the backup to Rivers, and potentially the guy now for the Chargers.
But now that you've mentioned that roster, now that you named that roster, I want to put this to you. Imagine for a second Tom Brady throwing some screens to Melvin Gordon. I mean, how great has Tom Brady been in his career on those short wide receiver and running back screens? I mean, they've made a living out of it. Imagine him and Melvin Gordon getting it going.
God, it'd be amazing, but imagine him and any other running back in the league. Imagine him throwing a screen to Zeke Elliott.
Okay, you got me.
I mean, wouldn't you think the Cowboys would love to have Tom Brady?
I think that would be my number 2 place for Tom Brady, Cowboys. Because I don't think Dak Prescott is worth a big contract yet. I don't think he's done enough.
No? You don't?
I think he's just average. I think he's just all right. I mean, he has all these big numbers. Sure, you go look at his numbers and you're like, wow, he's done so much. Those are all when, the game's over, they're not going to win, and he just lays it on in fourth quarter, lays it on in the second half of games where they're defeated. I think he's just average. I don't think he deserves that money. I think Tom Brady would be a big get for them.
Man, imagine this. Tom Brady at quarterback, Zeke Elliott running back, wide receivers are Amari Cooper, Tavon Austin, Michael Gallup, Devin Smith. A lot better names in that roster for Tom Brady. The question is, can the offensive line be what he needs it to be? And who's going to be a tight end for them? Because, Jason Witten can't go much longer.
No, he's done. I don't think he can go another year. I think he shouldn't have gone this past year. But he did, unfortunately, tragically. We saw him go this year. And I think he's done. But I think the offensive line can be enough for him. And the weapons you just named, I think if he lands in Dallas, I think they're above the Chiefs in Super Bowl odds. I think they go to number 1 if they land Tom Brady. I'm gonna go out on that limb.
So you're still saying Tom Brady is still so good that he makes any team he goes to potentially number 1?
Their record was, help me out, was it 12-4 regular season? I believe it was 12-4. I wanna fact check that. I want our good buddy here. I'm also
they were 12-4.
12-4 with no weapons around him, with nobody to help him. He was still 12-4.
He did have one receiver, Julian Edelman. He's getting older, but man, what a stud that guy was.
Julian Edelman. Stop giving me that name.
Hey, Tom Brady was just tweeting out Julian Edelman to get back on the East Coast so they could play catch.
Yeah, I hear you.
What if that's a package deal? What if you get Tom Brady and Julian Edelman? You imagine that going to
I would hold
Dallas.
up more to take it. I would pause for an extra second if I had to take Julian Edelman with him.
What's your problem with Julian Edelman?
He's I think, same thing as Dak Prescott. I think he's all right. I think he's good for a good team. I think he's good for a good team. I don't think he makes a good team great. I don't think he makes a good team better. I think he's good for a good team.
Man, Julian Edelman, I think, is a name that's kind of become synonymous with Tom Brady. He's been that outlet. He's been that safety net. He's been present in more games than he's been absent-minded from. Now, there are a few games where he's just totally not there. But you look at last year, he's playing hurt the whole year. And, he's, quite frankly, is one of the reasons why Tom Brady was able to be so successful in the 2019 campaign he did have. All right, we talk Tom Brady all day. But let's talk a little bit about Phillip Rivers. Now, this is an intriguing name for me. He's never won a Super Bowl at all.
Nope.
But by God, he's top 5 in winningest quarterbacks.
I think if I'm making a greats list, I think I put him near number 10 for me. I think maybe he rounds out the top 10, or maybe he just misses it for me. I put him above Eli Manning.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I don't think I put him above Eli Manning.
I'll do it. I'll do it for you.
You'll do it for me? Because Eli Manning, 2 Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
Against the evil dynasty, the evil empire, the greatest of all time, Tom Brady.
I hope he's still sending checks to his team for those 2 Super Bowls. I hope he's still paying them.
Well,
I hope they have his rings. I hope he's still sending them thank you checks.
Listen, if you took a team and you took his brother, Peyton Manning, best regular season quarterback, in my opinion, of the past 20 years. You put him as your starting quarterback in the regular season, and you take Eli Manning and make him your starting quarterback for the postseason, you win the Super Bowl 5 out of 6 years.
Because you know why? Because you hear of people you hear of sports analysts talking about he's a good game manager. You hear that a lot. He's a safe guy. He's safe. You can put him there, and he won't do anything crazy. He can win you. He won't lose you a game. He can't win it like the elites do, but he won't lose it. He won't do anything stupid. He's a game manager. That's what Eli Manning has been. He's been a game manager for really good teams. And
but isn't that important?
It is important, but it isn't what the elites do. Elites can go out and win you games. Game managers protect you from losing. So
who do you put in this elite list that you're talking about? Like, obviously,
they're in the NFL right now,
or just like, what do you want to do, like in your lifetime?
Sure, in my life, we'll go in my lifetime. Brett Favre. No particular order here. I'm just as I think of them. Tom Brady, Drew Brees. Man, there are many of them. Tom Brady. We have Brett Favre, Drew Brees. I want to put Peyton Manning on that list, but when he got the playoffs,
he was terrible.
He didn't look good, so I want to put him on that list, but I can't. Patrick Mahomes is becoming an elite. He's an elite. And I think I'm going to stop at those 4 for my brain's not working right now, lack of being able to think of anybody else. I'm going to stop at those 4. I'm sure there's more of them in my lifetime. Michael Vick was for a time.
What about Aaron Rodgers?
I told you my brain wasn't working. Take it easy. Take it easy.
The one thing Packers always have going for them is they have a quarterback typically.
Absolutely.
I'm a Minnesota fan, and I was a beneficiary of Brett Favre for a couple of years, and he, by God, almost won us the Super Bowl, that last one. But he's one of those you lived or died by his arm.
I've always said that year in Minnesota, he was one half of arguably, at least top 5, arguably the greatest tandem in the NFL.
Oh, man, throwing to Sidney Rice?
And Brett Favre and Sidney Rice,
being a University of South Carolina fan, watching Sidney Rice tear up the SEC while he was there, and getting to watch Brett Favre throw to him. He was never the same after Brett Favre left. He goes to Seattle and kind of really disappears, Sidney Rice does. But, man,
because he was with an elite quarterback. He was with a quarterback that could make him look good. He was with a quarterback that could make his team look good. You go somewhere else, you get with a game manager, you get with an average guy, and you look like the rest of his career looked because he himself was an average receiver. And that's what I'm talking about, the difference in game managers and elites are.
And let me tell you, man, I would love to put Phillip Rivers on this list, going back to the guy.
I can't.
Early on in his career, he was a winner.
Yeah.
He went out and he won you games. But I think at this point in his career, he just doesn't have much left. He might can give you a year. He might can give you 2 years. And actually, Phillip Rivers went on like a radio station and said, hey, I got 2 more in me. We might win the first one. You might decide they don't want me anymore, and that's okay. We might go in there and tear it up and do really great, and that'd be awesome. So he, honestly, kind of talked to him. He's just kind of, chilling, hey, you need me, you can call me. And I just, if I'm a executive, if I am looking for an answer at quarterback in 1 or 2 years, I just don't know if I can go Phillip Rivers.
I was gonna say I don't know if he goes anywhere. I'm gonna put out a crazy idea to you. Maybe he goes to Carolina as maybe a backup, maybe as a part-time, kind of almost like a tandem idea. Maybe to Carolina to back up Cam Newton. They got a new owner, they got a new coach, trying to get a new system. Bring him in for a couple of years, see what can happen, see if they can hit the gas and get a championship early in that new management. Maybe a possibility. But if I'm looking at all the other teams, I don't see a place for him in the NFL.
Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I know you're a big Cam Newton fan. I know you're drinking the Cam Newton Kool-Aid, and just like every other Carolina Panther fan. But I think if you brought Phillip Rivers in there, he becomes a day one starter. Just think of this. You got Christian McCaffrey in Carolina. Who else throws a better screen than Phillip Rivers? You watch him drop it off to Austin Eckler the whole year, Melvin Gordon the whole year. That son of a gun can set up a screenplay.
Not many people.
And I think he would do perfectly. Listen, there's a lot of organizations that would take Phillip Rivers for 2 years. You think the Miami Dolphins would rather have Phillip Rivers, or they'd rather have what's his name, big bearded guy? What's that guy's name? I can't remember.
Roethlisberger?
No. Roethlisberger is Pittsburgh.
No. Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking.
Man, the guy's name is just kind of...
You're killing me.
Yeah, he's killing me right now as well. But the Miami Dolphins would take Phillip Rivers over any of the options that they have there.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That's right. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Would you rather have him, or would you rather have Phillip Rivers?
Phillip Rivers.
Exactly. All right. You're the owner of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jameis Winston
I'll cut you off.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers. Okay. How about the Tennessee Titans? Do you do Phillip Rivers or you do Ryan Tannehill?
I'll stay Ryan Tannehill. I'm going to be honest with you.
He's a free agent right now. They're not committed to him.
They better commit to Ryan Tannehill. They better.
He gave one season. He's been great. Think of all the years.
He's game manager.
He is a game manager.
Miami had nobody around him for him to keep solid.
They had Devontae Parker. Yeah, that's about all I can actually name, to be honest with you, from that Miami Dolphins team. I would take Phillip Rivers over the $84.2 million mistake Kirk Cousins.
Dude.
For the two remaining years, I'll take Phillip Rivers in a heartbeat in that number.
For some reason, people still would take Kirk Cousins. I don't know.
He's terrible.
I don't know.
He's 100% terrible.
I don't know.
All right, so we stopped. We got 20... Let's come back.
Oh!
So, yeah, what about the New York Jets? Sam Darnold, Phillip Rivers. Mm-hmm. The New York Giants, Daniel Jones, Phillip Rivers.
I mean, I get he is he is in the top half of quarterbacks right now. I got it. He's at the top.
Hey, New England Patriots? Or whoever their backup is.
Are all these teams you're naming have pieces to throw Phillip Rivers in there for 2 years and win today?
Tampa Bay does. 100%. I think Tampa Bay, you put Drew Brees in there, you win a Super Bowl next year.
Well, Jesus Christ.
I think Tampa Bay, you put Tom Brady in there, you win a Super Bowl. Tampa Bay's team is stacked.
If you have Drew Brees, you can throw some fans around him.
Oh, you're right. You probably could actually pass a pass with your 9 fingers.
I mean, you put it right on me.
I mean, right there. Right now.
Tampa Bay could win with Drew Brees. Now we doing? We just stating obvious stuff like that.
I mean, listen. But doesn't everyone just state the obvious? I think you can take these 3 players: Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, all free agents. You can put them on almost any team, and they're better than their situation was, except Drew Brees, like the Saints are.
Yeah, the Saints. I feel like he's going to work it out. There.
He's got to.
He's going to work it out.
You know, Sean Payton's so into Taysom Hill right now. And
shouldn't he be?
I mean, hey, listen.
Shouldn't he be?
Just think about the backups they had to Drew Brees. Taysom Hill, Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater got reinvented this year.
Teddy Bridgewater.
I mean, he didn't lose a game. My favorite quarterback ever, actually, Teddy Bridgewater.
That's a large statement.
Listen, being a Minnesota fan, he was a Viking, man. And just the knee injury really cut his time there short. And, God, I love the guy. But honestly, I would take him over Kirk Cousins right now in a heartbeat. Right. And I think Teddy Bridgewater deserves a starting job somewhere. You know, take him, put him in Miami. Take him, put him on Jacksonville's team. Take him, put him in the Jets, the Giants, the Browns. I would take Teddy Bridgewater over any of their quarterbacks right now. And I think that he's going to have that opportunity. But, man, to be the owner of the New Orleans Saints right now, this is a big decision you have to make.
I think you just brought up an interesting point that I want to go back to, that I want to use these 3 as an example. I want to talk about the Cleveland Browns. Because, hear me out.
All right.
The problem with the Cleveland Browns is they've been spinning their wheels. The management is messed up at the top. You know, the ownership, whatever it is, they can't get it right. So the coach hasn't been able to find footing there to win. The quarterbacks haven't been able to find footing there to win because they keep getting new quarterbacks, keep getting young quarterbacks. And a young quarterback can't come in to the NFL, into a profession that they've never been in, and play like a veteran and be in a system that's broken and win. But you give me these 3 that know how to be on their own, that know how to be in the business. They've been professionals for years. I think you put them on that team, I think the Browns could win because the quarterbacks, unlike the younger guys, I don't think a broken system would affect them as much because they've been professionals for years.
My God, you look at their roster, almost any quarterback should be able to win there.
But they keep using the young guys that, a broken system affects them because they're young. They need building. If you have a guy that's already built, imagine what they could do.
But I think the issue is, who really wants to be in Cleveland?
Nobody.
I mean, the weather there sucks. Obviously, there's nothing really good there because they're all moving to Myrtle Beach. Anyone from Ohio, they just relocate to
Stop doing Ohio. That. Stay in Ohio. I wanted all our fans to hear that. Stop doing that. Stop coming to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Stay in Ohio.
Yeah, we don't want you here. Yeah. Please, don't come at all, actually.
If you're from Ohio right here, right now, pack your bags.
Yeah, go home. We don't want you. But when you look at that, I mean, listen, I would, obviously, if I am the owner of the Cleveland Browns, I'm taking any one of the 3 on the market. Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees. 100%. Right now. Actually, if I'm the owner of the Browns, I would go ahead and trade for Teddy Bridgewater. Actually, you might even be able to sign him outright. I think he's a free agent. So I'd go ahead and make Teddy Bridgewater an offer right now because he's comparable to the type of offense you want to be able to run there anyways. So I would 100%, New Orleans is not going to be able to keep both Bridgewater and Taysom Hill. One of those guys will be the starter. I don't think Drew Brees will be back there, actually.
That is a big statement. It's hard for me to believe. I'm I'm going to have to say he will be back. But, hey, I'm the one without sports experience, so we will.
The NFL is such a weird institution anyway, so you can throw a lot of money around. You know, we've been fortunate to grow up in a time period where there have been quarterbacks who've been in places for a long time. Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers. Listen, I hate the Steelers. I don't really like Ben Roethlisberger, but he has been a key point of their success. Drew Brees and the Saints. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. Tom Brady and the Patriots. Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And, you know, we've had some really good opportunities to watch some really good quarterbacks play this game in their, you know, drafted areas. So I think it's just kind of exciting point to be at in the NFL right now.
Yes, I mean, it's been an exciting, it's going to be an exciting offseason. It'll be a good time. I'm ready to see how it shakes out. And we just got a final score. Ron, you ready?
I'm ready,
You ready to hear this? South Carolina NCAA men's basketball over Tennessee 63-61. That improves the South Carolina Gamecocks to 16-9, 8-4 overall in the SEC. What a run they've been on, huh?
You know, I don't know if I can get too excited about it, Brett. It is the South Carolina Gamecocks.
That's true, but I'll get excited for you because I saw them at the start of the year. I'm excited. I'm not excited thinking, we're going to another Final Four. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm excited for is they were a horrible basketball team in places at the start of the season, and they went on this incredible run now to improve to 16-9. That is, I think, something to get excited about.
You know, I'm a big believer in Frank Martin. I like the guy. I think he's an intense coach. I think that's what the Gamecocks have needed. And it is exciting to see the team do well down the stretch. They went on a 3-win streak, lost one, then now they're on a 4-game win streak. And it's definitely been a bounce-back type of performance. And college basketball this year has been weird. No one wants to be number one. I think Baylor is right now, and they've got one loss, and they've been kind of consistent. But, man, this is the year, if you're the Gamecocks, where you can actually sneak into the NCAA tournament with, 9 losses.
Absolutely.
We need to continue winning, and you've got to win games that you're supposed to win. And that's something that all the programs at the University of South Carolina have struggled with over the past, our lifetime. I'm 30, you're 24, 25. But it is exciting to actually see.
Well, you know how I am about fan honesty. I am big on fan honesty. And we were at a South Carolina Gamecock football game earlier this season. And, just everybody in the stands was yelling at Will Muschamp. And everybody's carrying on about Will Muschamp. It's his fault. You have to think, if you're a South Carolina Gamecocks fan, when in your lifetime have they ever been consistent at anything? When?
2008, 2011? It's probably the only time they've really been consistent in football.
They had a near NFL roster and didn't have a shot at a national championship.
Yeah, the year we beat Alabama, if you go back and look at that.
We're stacked and couldn't get it done. When have we ever performed like we were supposed to, and the fans won't be honest about it, and it drives me nuts.
Well, that's something we're going to kind of save, though, and table
all right.
for our next podcast episode.
I
know you're excited about it, and I hope people who are listening, I hope they're going to be excited about it, because we're going to talk about fans. We're going to talk about the fan in the stand who thinks they're better than the coach that's being paid millions of dollars.
That's right. You're going to get a good, angry rant from me next episode. Stay tuned, everybody. I'm ready for that one.
And I think we're going to put a pencil into this episode, Brett, because I think this is a great endpoint for us. We've talked a little about the NFL. We talked about the Gamecocks pulling out the big win at home versus the Tennessee Volunteers. And I think that's just a perfect place where we can actually end this inaugural episode. It's been an awesome episode. There's going to be some really cool things coming to the people who are listening, especially with this next one that we're going to decide to do. What say you, pal? Is this the end of the road for you on this episode?
I mean, I think we've done a good job. I would like to hit, just while we're talking about it, we talked about the basketball team, college baseball, opening weekend. I think it would be hard not to talk about opening weekend. South Carolina, we can go back to them. I was watching them a little bit last night, and I think you're going to think this is might sound like a strange take, but the South Carolina Gamecocks got a win 10-0 last night, and I was worried about them. I was worried with what I saw. And they struck out 6 times against the Holy Cross team, and we know last year their problems were strikeouts. I mean, you couldn't. Kill them. Strikeouts kill them. And to see a small team like Holy Cross, I don't want to call them a small team. To see a team,
1954 national champion Holy Cross.
I apologize, Holy Cross. To see a team, an SEC team that should beat a Holy Cross team, I mean, they beat them 10-0. Great. But to see the struggles that they did have in that game, and you know they were struggles from last year, to see them play a little bit of a part in even a big win worried me. Now today they got a 9-4 win, so they're up 2-0 in that series, going for the sweep tomorrow. But it just, it worried me seeing those things come back. But of course, it's only open weekend, and we'll have to go further to see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, 19-4, 2 games. It's pretty good ratio there. It's pretty good odds. And, I don't think you want to be too alarmed. It's opening weekend.
Mm.
It's going to be a little rust. There's going to be some nervous jitters for people who've never played in, big level college baseball. But it is an exciting time to be a Gamecock fan. I think our baseball team is going to take that next step. And I know everyone's been wanting it and wanting it. But we know, I could tell you, I coach. This is a big thing. It takes time to develop your program. You have to recruit your people. All right, listen, high school, you can't recruit. But you recruit in your school.
Right.
You go in like,
hey, gotta make the athletes want.
I've got to have you. I need you to work hard. I need you to... And South Carolina fans are very quick to be like, oh, hey, listen, they're winning up in Clemson in baseball. They're winning in Clemson in football. They're winning, Alabama in football. They're winning everywhere else. They're winning. Why can't we win? Well, it takes time.
That's right.
You have to develop your program. And it takes patience. And that's something that we're going to talk about in the next episode, where fans just don't have a clue.
Next episode is going to be a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this one, ladies and gentlemen, I think next episode is going to be a good one. This one, the first time we're just getting it out, seeing what it feels like, seeing what it sounds like. I hope you enjoy this one, but this is just the first one. I think we got a big one for next week, and I will say there were things that I enjoyed yesterday watching that game. They have always talked about aggression. Mark Kingston is big on that, stealing bases, doing whatever, swinging early in counts. There was a lot of controlled aggression in this game. You saw a lot of, taking borderline pitches that were called for balls, taking good breaking balls, taking high fastballs that last year would have killed them. Last night they did swing at some, but they did take really good ones last night. In the first inning, you saw 2 walks and then a 3-run home run. I mean, you saw 2 guys be patient at the plate, watch some pitches, get on base. The third guy comes up, knows his spot. He's that third man up. He gets aggressive, sees a good pitch, he puts it over the fence. I mean, they did do the good things that you want to see from them this season. Turned around today, did it again. We saw, great things. And I think this is a much better team than last season. And we heard Kingston say he thought last year was a fluke and that the Gamecocks were going to come back and show everybody that this season. And I'm excited to see it. And from what I saw today and last night, it was. Now, I think that is a good wrap-up point if you're ready for it, sir.
And
Walrus.
that's going to do it for us this afternoon in this very first inaugural podcast episode of the Walrus and the Comic Sports Report. I'm the Walrus. That's the comic. Stay tuned next time, folks. We're going to bring you a good one.
And I would like to say one more thing, guys. I'm going to do a little bit of shameless self-promotion here. I'm doing open mics all over the place where I can get them. I'm still in the early stages of comedy. And, of course, this week, as of, all Tuesday nights, if you're local listening to this, we're going to be up in Myrtle Beach at a Bourbon Street Bar and Grill. I'll be hopefully getting a spot there. And, stay tuned in the podcast if you enjoy this. I'll let you know where we're going to be if you're local. I'm doing spots in Charleston, doing spots in Myrtle Beach, hoping to move to Wilmington. We'll let you know as it comes. You can come check it out and support it.
And we're going to work on getting some of your stand-up stuff on YouTube, I believe, as well, right?
100%.
So just stay tuned, folks. We got a lot of exciting things coming to you from the Walrus and the Comic.
Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. The Walrus and the Comic.